by 4.5% and online up by just 0.2%. I assume that's reflective of the fact that the economy reopened.
Ian, yes. Can I come back to that and give you a little bit of context before I explain how retail and digital have performed over the first half of the year? As you say, we're announcing today record first half sales, just under 4 billion, and that's building on 4 years of successive sales growth. Another couple of interesting facts: ticket sales are now, and good causes from ticket sales are now growing at double the rate of sales themselves. And we also passed a really important milestone during the first half of the year, with national lottery players generating £45 billion for good causes. And I think the National Lottery is in great shape. In terms of your question about retail and digital, yes, retail did grow by 4.5%. However, we're still at about 90% of pre-pandemic levels. We're still supporting retailers as much as we can, and also rolling out into new retailers. And digital did grow by about 0.2%, but of course, last year we grew by 40%. And what we're seeing is maintained that 40% growth from last year, and they're still bringing in new players. In fact, we had 800,000 new digital players during the first half of the year.
Now, according to my rudimentary maths, some 22% of receipts went to good causes. That's up on last year, but it's actually down on a decade ago.
Yes, it is. And I think the trick is to make sure we get enough money into players' hands and enough money to good causes. Because, of course, it's players that fund good causes, not the operator. And there's a very fine balance to be struck, and it's one that we've got right. And it's making sure we have games that are appealing to players and they want to play. And when they do that, they raise more money for good causes. Now, I know I didn't have the opportunity to talk to you about our full year results last year, when we had record full year results that we announced earlier this year. But last year we had record sales, we had the highest returns to good causes ever, and we had more money going to players than ever before in the terms of prizes. So I think we've got the equation, the balance, absolutely right.
I mean, I've seen it suggested that it's because scratch cards and interactive instant win games, you don't have to pay the same proportion of sales to good causes as you do with the traditional lottery game. I mean, that's a decision for MPs, but that doesn't seem right somehow, does it?
Well, the National Lottery is a portfolio of games, and different games appeal to different players. And, you know, scratch cards do have a higher prize payout. In other words, they pay more prizes than other games. Euro Millions, you know, huge jackpots, but not as many smaller prizes. So the balance is to get the portfolio right. And I think we've done that. And I think it's demonstrated by our results today with, you know, record sales and, you know, more money than ever going to society.
You mentioned Euro Millions there. There were obviously far fewer rollovers during the period. Was that particularly unhelpful for you?
Well, yeah, I think we've talked about this before. It's a lottery, so, you know, we can't control when rollovers happen. But what we do have is we have a very balanced portfolio. And, you know, Lotto, you know, the original game was a standout performer in the first half. When I was on your show a few years ago, I talked about the changes that were planned for Lotto with the roll-down mechanic when the jackpot gets to a certain level. That's working really, really well. We're now in 3 years of growth in Lotto, which I think is kind of unheard of in most of Europe. And also Set for Life, another game that I talked about on a couple of your shows, is growing, and it grew again. It grew by nearly 13% in the first half. So, yes, we had no luck on Euro Millions, but we've got a really, really resilient business and a really, really resilient portfolio of games.
Now, the fourth National Lottery licence competition is underway right now. I mean, obviously, Camelot has held the licence since the lottery was launched by Sir John Major nearly 30 years ago. Which of your rivals are you most concerned about?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about the competition. The rules are very clear. We can't talk about ourselves. We can't talk about the competitors. I think what I can say is it is a competitive field. The Gambling Commission have said that within our control. You know, we'll put a bid in. Now we think the bid is competitive. And we think the Gambling Commission will run a very fair process. We're expecting a decision in February, March time. So we'll see the results of that. In the meantime, my focus is on making sure we continue with this record-breaking performance, generating the most we can for good causes at a time when the country really needs it.
Nigel, how unhelpful is it to your cause that Diane Thompson, who was your predecessor but won, she left 7 years ago. She's still receiving payments from the company.
Yeah, Diane was on a long-term incentive plan and when she left, she agreed payment terms with the shareholder and the board at the time, and she continues to get paid those things. You know, Diane was with the company for 14 years. She was a really successful CEO. is not really a matter for me. And my focus is to make sure I can do the very best job I can for National Lottery players, and to make sure we continue to deliver record-breaking levels of sales and as much money as possible for good causes at a time when it's needed more than ever.
Nigel, just to go back to EuroMillions a sec, I read recently that when you have a really, really big jackpot available on EuroMillions, sales go up of tickets in very well-heeled parts of the country, like Mayfair and Knightsbridge and down in Canary Wharf and here in the City of London. Is that true?
Yes, it is. It is. So, when EuroMillions gets to 100 million and above, then traditionally we see places like Canary Wharf giving us our higher sales levels. I mean, Canary Wharf is only operating at 60% of the level it was pre-pandemic, but it is true. But of course, the assignment of EuroMillions, the big jackpots, is not only constrained to those areas. When EuroMillions gets to big jackpot levels, I think it captures the whole public's imagination, and we see people playing the National Lottery that might not otherwise do so. And we all see the benefits from that. In fact, in post these results, we had our second best ever week sales ever, when we had the record-breaking EuroMillions jackpot, and we had sales of £220 million in just 1 week.
All right, Nigel, got to leave it there. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks as always. Take care.
Now, a mass is about to take place at Westminster Cathedral to remember the life and career of Sir David Amess. The MP for Southend West was murdered on the 15th of October. Here we can see the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, arriving. I think Sir Keir Starmer, the leader of the opposition, is there as well. There he is, that's Sir Keir Starmer arriving at Westminster Cathedral. This is just from a few moments ago. Our political correspondent, Kate McCann, is outside Westminster Cathedral right now. Kate, I imagine there will be an enormous turnout for this very, very well-respected MP.
There will be, and it will be a mix of friends, of family, and of those from the political arena who had a deep respect for Sir David Amess, who was, of course, an MP for almost 40 years. During that time, really very focused on his constituency, on all the things that mattered to Southend, and of course Southend became a city, sadly, after his tragic death, which was something that he had campaigned for, repeatedly asked questions about in the House of Commons, and actually really highlighted his sense of humour, something that lots of people who we've been speaking to have said that will really stand out for them, actually, and is important to remember today. Well, of course, this is a very sad occasion, this Mass, that his life was well lived, that he spent a lot of time working for the people that to him really mattered the most. You've mentioned there that we've seen the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, arrive, we've seen the Leader of the Opposition, Sir Keir Starmer, arrive too, and also a number of former high-profile politicians, Theresa May, the former Prime Minister, for example, David Cameron, also a former Prime Minister. We've seen a number of others coming here today. Most of the Cabinet have arrived over the course of the last half an hour. John Major too inside. We understand Priti Patel and Sir Keir Starmer had quite a good chat when they both arrived, and a number of politicians really mixing at the front of the cathedral before this Mass starts in around 15 minutes' time. It will be, of course, a very religious occasion that reflects that Sir David's faith that was also very important to him, a big part of his life. There will be a message from the Pope today that will be a real high point, I think, for his family, and something that will mark just how important he was as a man, as a politician, and of course as a father and as a friend.
Thanks, Kate. Some of the day's other business news stories now. And Compass Group has become the latest big FTSE 100 company to restore its dividend as the world emerges from lockdown. The world's biggest contract caterer stopped its payout in April last year as schools, colleges and workplaces went into lockdown, hitting its sales. But this morning, Compass reported an underlying operating profit of £811 million for the year to the end of September. That was up 55% on the previous 12 months. Dominic Blakemore, the chief executive, said some parts of the business, including those serving customers in the healthcare and defence sectors, were now trading at well above pre-pandemic levels. The shares are off about 1% right now. And shares of AO World fell by 27% this morning. That was after the online electricals retailer said that full-year profits would be less than expected. The company, which blamed supply chain issues and shortages of some products, said it was now expecting its sales for the year to be unchanged at best on last year and at worst up to 5% lower. Well, AO World's founder and chief executive, John Roberts, said the company was working hard to solve some of the current challenges the industry is facing. He said it had recruited 500 new drivers and was working closely with manufacturers so that its customers could get what they need. And the water and sewage company Severn Trent said today it's bringing forward the targets it's been set to improve river quality by 16 years. It said it was aiming to fulfil the actions it's been set in the Environment Act under a 25-year time frame within 9 years. Well, the pledge comes amid intense criticism of the water industry for putting sewage into some of Britain's rivers. Well, Severn Trent today reported pre-tax profits of £146.9 million for the 6 months to the end of September. That was up 16% on the same period last year and reflected higher water consumption among business customers following the end of lockdown. Well, still to come here on Ian King Live. The Chief Executive of Atom Bank will be telling me why he's introducing a 4-day working week for staff. Don't go away.
It's with three people who've all lost someone to suicide: West, Emma Rigby, and Peter Robinson, and it's about the walk, to promote the walk for people to sign up and rise and walk with us.
I think the more people that talk about it, I think the better. You know, we've had Ryan Reynolds come out famously sort of talking about his anxiety. I've spoken out about some sort of dark periods and times that I have had an experience with other people. I can't see this getting any better. If I'm totally honest, with things that have happened with the pandemic, everyone being, of course, with lockdown, and now of course people are going to be communicating less. People are working from home. We think we're communicating more with the amount of technology, but actually people are going to be talking to people less around less people, which is, I can only see getting worse. You know, I've heard over the last week of 2 suicides myself, from a friend's neighbour and a friend's friend. So I think it's even more important to raise this awareness, and it's incredible what River is doing.
You know, there comes a time where we need to stop just pulling people out the river, but we talk about how we need to go upstream and find out why they're falling in, and that's what Human is doing. And David mentioned that it's spot on with the fact we've got so much less human nutrition since the pandemic. Working from home, and we need that human interaction, that human connection, and that's what Human provides: the human space, the gym for your mind. That's our core offering, and I created it to be in person so that people had that human nutrition, human interaction, and the importance of listening to hear rather than listening to respond. And I think in society we're really quick to listen to respond, and I don't think this issue will get any better if we don't listen to really hear each other.
Welcome back. Now, the digital lender Atom Bank has announced it's moving all of its UK staff to a 4-day week. Employees will reduce their working hours from 37.5 hours to 34 hours. But here's the bit that will make those workers happy: wages will not be cut. The bank hopes that the move will help improve work-life balance. Well, joining me now is Mark Mullen. He's the Chief Executive of Atom Bank. Mark, very good morning to you. What's driven this decision?
Well, we see it as an investment in our business, to be absolutely honest. So it's an investment in health, well-being, productivity, loyalty, and our overall competitiveness. It's been an incredibly difficult 20 months for our business, for every business. I think people are tired, and we like to keep them. We like to keep them engaged. So investing in them is really just investing in our own success.
Is this a decision that you think you would have reached had it not been for the lockdowns and the pandemic and people working from home more?
No, I think, to be absolutely honest, the pandemic has caused us all to look at how businesses operate effectively. So if you had asked most business leaders whether they would move to a home working model or even a hybrid model before COVID, I think, there was no great appetite to do that, no urgency. But in literally a month, most businesses transform themselves, and that kind of makes alive some of the, if you like, customs and idiosyncrasies of how we've been working for the last 50 or 60 years. And it's forced us all to think again about some of the conditions that we've just worked within. And for that reason, once you've gotten used to running your business from on a hybrid basis, you begin to ask yourself questions about what else you can change.
I mean, this is going to be watched by an awful lot of people in the financial services sector, and presumably not least BBVA, one of your shareholders.
I think it's an interesting, case study. For us, it's deadly serious. It's about our core business. All 430, 440 of our employees will move to a 4-day week and have moved, in fact, 3 weeks ago. And already it's beginning to show some very encouraging signs. In 3 weeks, we've not seen a single business performance metric decline. And as a minimum, you would have expected, you take a week out of the cycle, surely something must give, but that's just not the case. And so the idea that somehow or the other it's impossible or it's difficult, I just don't buy it. So sure, other businesses are already looking at it, whether it's in the financial services sector or much farther afield.
And you've been doing this for 3 weeks. What's the extra day off that people take? Presumably it's a Monday or a Friday by and large, is it?
Yeah, it's pretty much a Friday. So we've got to try and make sure that there is a critical mass of people. We've got a process which says that on Monday to Thursday, everyone's got to be available for meetings from 9:30 till 4:30. But then they've got flexibility either end of that. So they can start early and finish early, or they can start late and finish late. So we're trying to be as flexible as we possibly can. And on top of that, it's a flexible working or hybrid working model. So you can come to the office, it's open if you want, but you can also work from home.
Presumably there's a small core of people, though, that have to work outside of those hours to ensure that the service remains uninterrupted.
That's right. But right from the very moment we launched the business, we've had shift patterns to cover the service window because we're supporting customers 7 days a week. And to that extent, absolutely nothing has changed. So this is about making sure that we make our business more productive and make our business more sustainable. At the same time, you can't do it if you damage your customer relationships. The reality of it is that if you treat your own people well, I think you've got a much better chance of treating customers well. It seems almost counterintuitive to believe the opposite.
You've said there that no service levels have dropped off. You're meeting all of your key performance indicators as things stand since you launched this initiative. What sort of things are people doing with their extra day off? Have you asked colleagues?
Just in the process of asking people, to share some of their stories, and there isn't a single answer to that, as you can imagine. Some people have kids, and so their childcare, engagement model changes. Some people looking after parents, they're going away for longer weekends, but it's very early. So, we really had 3 weekends thus far. It's still fairly early days, but we'll keep an eye on it. We're doing another survey, which has just gone out today, actually. So we'll get a bit of a temperature check on how people are feeling. And the whole process really is designed to make sure we listen to people, we adapt where we need to adapt, and just, invest in making it successful. But it's not really our job to tell you how you should be living your lives outside work. We just want to create the time and space for you to do it.
And more broadly, how's the business doing right now? I see in June that you achieved a first monthly operating profit. Do you anticipate making a 6 monthly profit in the near future?
Yeah, we've already posted our first quarterly profit. So 4 of the last 5 months, we've generated an operating profit. We're continuing on that track, so we'd expect to be profitable now on a go-forward basis. We won't get to an operating profit this financial year, which ends on the 31st of March, but we'll definitely get there next year. And we've broken through some other milestones. So, we've just crossed £1 billion lending to SMEs. We've got £3 billion plus lending to mortgage customers. And so the business is really thriving.
And what kind of assumptions are you making about what an interest rate rise would do for demand for credit?
Well, it's almost at least it seems emotionally, if nothing else, to be baked in now between now and the end of the year. But in common with everyone, we're looking at that. We don't necessarily think that's going to cause much in the way of credit stress. It's certainly not in the short term, because we already, make sure that affordability is stressed when people take out loans. And so particularly in mortgage lending, that's always been a standard, that people have additional capacity, to cope with things like interest rate rises. I think a bigger challenge is what's the inflation outlook, what's the employment outlook? And there's still a lot of data kicking around that is idiosyncratic. So, mapping a trend, a continuous trend going back a number of years and then projecting it forward is very difficult, because you've got Brexit, you've got COVID, and then, of course, you've got inflation, interest rate environment to factor in. Honestly, I don't think I'm in a position to guess any better than anyone else.
All right, before I let you go, Mark, you completed a private fundraising round earlier this year for £40 million. Is an IPO the next stop?
Yeah, that's certainly something we're now really gearing the bank up to deliver either next year or the year after. And that's as much about making sure that we can maximize the growth potential of the business. And equally, you know, these things take quite a long time to mature, to get to a scale that makes them viable. We're kind of just about there. It's taken 7 years to get this far. But that's a drop in the ocean compared to how old banks are. So we're still very, very young in comparison to the industry. And an IPO next year, the year after, is certainly a very important priority for us.
All right, Mark Mullen, very good to talk to you this morning. Hope to see you again in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Well, still to come here on Ian King Live, we'll be having a look at how global markets are doing this Tuesday morning. Stay tuned.
Tanzania, and the best part is SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired. Yes! How do you get the energy to do that?
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Of darkness.
So what did that
myself and the world will adjust. And 2019,
forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Hello, lovely listeners. Tune in to the renewed show with Charlotte. Make it a date to listen to me this and every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Starr Radio UK. Tune in to an hour of power, an hour of encouragement, an hour to inspire you to stay positive and strong in this season. See you there and listen.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
The best radio show.
Body, it's your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harrison, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And I sabi you know, just have fun and stay blessed.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie. Starr Radio. And that is how I say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We salute you all and welcome you to the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Today is the 23rd day of November, the year 2021, with the time now exactly at 10:39. It is the Tuesday edition of the morning show, and of course I am.
This is the morning show.
But I'm saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, especially to my wonderful team who joins me every day. Mr. Frank Davis, Kojo D, Mr. Laimi Koiki, Felix on the way in Aberdeen, and all you wonderful people who have tuned in this morning to listen to us. We salute you. To Tosin Dino all the way in Moscow. I salute you, sir. And to my wonderful listeners in the US, in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, and on the African continent. Morning once again, afternoon once again, evening once again, dawn once again. Welcome once again to the program. Playing in the background, sounding from a Kasibimpong. Alright. Everything is gonna be alright, To my wonderful listeners in Ghana, Nigeria, in Uganda, South Africa, and all other parts of the African continent, I salute you all.
Little darling, don't you cry. Brother man, dry your teary eyes. Don't you know God is by your side? From side to side. Through the fire, He will be there. Through the storm, God will be there. Through the rain, God will be there. Take your burden to the Lord in prayer. Lay them all down and leave them there. Where are my regulars? Come on.
Well, the regulars are here. There's nothing that a nice reggae tune cannot sort out in the morning. What about that? Especially one gospel one as well. Donkey donkey do. Now, if it's the first time of tuning in to watch us on Tuesdays, on the Tuesday edition of the morning show, this is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. Want to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. And then exactly at 11 o'clock, I'll be bringing you updates from Nigeria. And I will go on to other parts of the world to look at the stories making the rounds. Well, before 12 o'clock, you can be posting all your comments on our Facebook page and afterwards, of course. But the lines will be open at 12 o'clock for you to add your voice to the discussions wherever you might find yourself on this continent or other planets as well, whichever it is.
Let me talk to you.
Then the discussions will continue at 12 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. So in the gist, that is what is going to happen today. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Once again, welcome to the program. Now moving on straight to the quote for the day says, get rid of the mindset that all criticism is bad and to be avoided. Get rid of the mindset that all criticism is bad and to be avoided. Now, if it's constructive criticism, that's a good one. But at times, those who like criticizing, destructive one, oh my goodness, cannot tell you or cannot see any good thing in you, then you can avoid that. But whatever it is, criticism is good in a way. It strengthens you, it makes you focus, it makes you well determined that I'm going to make or do something about this particular situation or whatever part I'm chattering. Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on straight to the weather front. I've been nippy here in London. Well, other parts of the world, some are hot, some are cold, as you know. But it will tend to cloud over in the afternoon. However, it will remain dry. Now tonight will remain largely cloudy and dry for most. However, there may also be a few clear periods. In addition, a few mist or fog patches could develop overnight as well. When it comes to the temperature, the top of the temperature is going to be 9 degrees and the lower is going to be 3 degrees. UV level is going to be low and pollution is going to be low as well. Then when it comes to sunset, 16:02 and sunrise for tomorrow morning, 07:31 hours. So that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. It is Starr Radio UK. Everything's gonna be alright. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and once we come back, I'll bring you the travel updates. So don't you go away. Don't you worry. I will make sure that you enjoy the full end of that song as well, so you can dance your reggae to it. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Check it out.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Well, so keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'll on the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes your way every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:46. So what is your travels like this morning? Let me share how it is here in the UK with you, and you can share with us whatever your travels is like across the globe. Okay, so moving on to the weather, the travel update here in London on the underground. Now, the Bakerloo line got severe delays between Queen's Park and Harrow and Wilston due to an earlier signal failure at Stonebridge Park. Now, good service on the rest of the line. Valley tickets are being accepted on London buses. Now, Hammersmith and City lines as well. There are a few incidents there. Hammersmith and City line minor delays due to train cancellations. But keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads. I will keep you navigated, I promise. Our bond. That aside, all the underground lines have good service there.
Check it out.
I'm moving on straight to the DLR. The DLR minor delays between Bank and Lewisham while they fix a signal failure in the Greenwich area. Good service on the rest of the line. Now on London Overground as well, no service between Romford and Upminster while they fix a faulty train at Romford. Good service on all other routes. Valley tickets are being accepted on London Underground, London buses, and Dockland Light Railway. Now keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads, and we'll keep you navigated. That aside, TFL Rail and London Tramlink has got good service there. Moving on straight to the riverbank this morning. Apart from the Woolwich Ferry that's got planned closures, all the others have got good service. But it is Starr Radio UK, your travel updates. Now moving on straight to the National Rail. On the National Rail this morning, Great Anglia has got severe delays and Southeastern minor delays. If you can avoid them, do your best to avoid them. However, if you are stuck in there, continue to listen to us, because as and when there are any changes, we'll bring it to the fore. Now, on the final segment of the travel update for you today, A4 has got closures, Central London Red Routes closures there as well. North Circular A406, serious delays. And that is where I come to say once again, well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your comment for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Check me out.
He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes.
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Of darkness.
So what did that
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
It's gonna be alright, everybody.
Are you ready to turn it up?
This is Starr Radio UK.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Try your teary eyes.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's now 8 minutes to the top of the hour, and that means it's time for Global Trotting. What is making the rounds across the globe? As I say all the time, get yourself a hot or cold drink, whichever is appropriate. And make sure
Lay them on down and leave them there. Where are my regular?
if you are sitting, sit comfortably. If you are standing, hold on to something. It could get bumpy, but hey, you are rest assured that we're going to arrive at our destination in peace and not pieces. So don't you cry. Everything is going to be all right. I catch a brim bone for you. Okay now, so
Through the rain, God will be there. Take your burden to the Lord.
in the UK, MPs back change to social care funding in England. Now, critics say altering the way the cap will be calculated could disproportionately hit poorer people. Now, if you have listened to that debate and the voting that took place, how do you think you are going to fare? Assuming you take you go on pension now, and then there's no income coming in, and eventually maybe the house that you bought is what you're going to be call it. We're thinking that they're going to take some chunk of it from whatever has to be used in catering for you, and you end up not having anything to cater for your or give to your children or your grandchildren. Now, what about that? But some people have been saying that, we have to live our lives. We accrued whatever, and so we live our lives and we go on. But is it fair? Is it fair? Let's say how we work. Some people work very hard. I've been working out my back off. I mean, making sure that you work. I mean, take somebody like Felix. Take somebody like Kojo D. You know, working. Now, how fair would that be? If when you've accrued or you got yourself on pension and then they decide, okay, you know what? For your care, you're going to be surcharging your property. Someone say, if you're living in London, that's cool. But if you're living outside of London, where you're living in a bungalow, I mean, what's the price of a bungalow? You're looking at all that, and by the time the 86,000 and everything, whoops. Okay, we'll bring you more details on that, and your voice. We'll love to hear it. Can UK avoid a Europe-style return to lockdown? Good vaccine uptake and natural immunity coupled with public caution has put UK in a strong position. Well, and the Pope is to deliver a message at Sir David Amish service. A funeral service in Westminster follows a memorial service held on Monday in Southend. Well, the private eye has apologized to Harry's ex. Now, I'm sorry I targeted Harry's ex, says private eye. A private investigator makes new claims of press intrusion on royals on a BBC documentary. Northern Ireland COVID-19 caps possible if no alternatives. The Northern Ireland executive meets for the second time in 2 days to discuss rising levels of virus in Northern Ireland. Is it because they share the border or they intermingle or interact with people from the Republic of Ireland who are connected to people in Europe directly in the EU, and because of that we see a surge in infections there? Is that what is causing it? What do you think? But hey, it's gonna be all right. Well, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station, bringing the time now to 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Now, moving on to other parts of the world. Some sad story that broke this morning when I woke up at dawn watching some of the news network, and I found out that dozens have been killed in a bus crash on Bulgarian motorway. At least 45 people, including 12 children, died when a bus returning to North Macedonia caught fire. And the question is, couldn't they have come out of the bus, or they didn't know and it was engulfed and maybe the doors were locked or jammed? Let me put it that way. A very sad one there. Starr Radio UK. We'll bring you more details and what caused that. I'm moving on straight to some stories making the rounds in the US. The parade incident driver to be charged with homicide. At least 5 people aged 52 to 81 were killed when an SUV plowed into a Christmas celebration on Sunday. Well, Kevin Spacey is to pay $31 million for breach of contract. The actor was ordered to pay $31 million, that is 23.2 million pounds, to the House of Cards studio after sexual abuse claims. Well, someone who said that, well, I didn't say that I wanted out of it, but because of whatever had gone on, then I had to be automatically maybe get out of the situation. But what do you think there? It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I'm moving on straight to some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. In the Middle East, threats of Israeli strike on Iran nuclear sites grows as Iran nuclear program forges ahead. Some see Israel running out of options to thwart it. So is it going to be bombing once again? Well, Hamas is to be declared a terrorist group by UK. The change will cover the entirety of the Palestinian militant group, including its political wing. Okay, it's all Starr Radio UK. More details going to be coming your way pretty soon. Well, when it comes to some of the other stories making the rounds in the Latin American area, the Caribbean area, far-right candidate through to Chile's runoff. Now, voters will have to choose between far-right candidate Jose Antonio Cast and left-winger Gabriel Boric. Well, and Cubans have congratulated Venezuela on poll before results President Nicolas Maduro's ruling party wins the election, but the US says the poll was not free. I remember, I think 4 years ago or 5 years ago, when they were having one of their elections, and I was reviewing some of the news here, and I was saying that look at the ballot boxes. You know what they are? They are brown cardboard boxes. You can't see anything. I said, I think this is needed in Africa, where people can stuff ballot papers in there. But well. That is what they have. And Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro says, well, you know what? I won that election once again. Opposition, you can cry, foul, whatever. I don't give a monkeys. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. And Colombia's leader rebukes Nazi-themed peace event. President Ivan Duque condemns the action of cadets pictured in SS uniforms and swastika armband. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, Germany has won, will be jabbed, recovered, or dead. As Germany battles a fourth COVID wave, the health minister gives a stark warning to get vaccinated. Now, if you've not been vaccinated here in the UK, what do you think? We've been talking about herd immunity. So how many people have been vaccinated? So far, I think we're getting towards herd immunity. Now, do you think that when it happens that maybe they are going to force everybody that you have to, you got to, you must? What will you do? When the state decide for you, that'll be quite interesting. Now, 6 surviving Greenlanders are part of a group of 22 children taken for re-education in 1951. Inuits seek Denmark's compensation over experiment. But these Inuits were taken from to Greenland to be re-educated. What kind of education is that? Now, new rules for Ireland's data centers published. There are some of the stories making the rounds in Europe today. Well, arrests have been made in the disappearance of Australian campers. Now, Carol Clay and Russell Hill vanished in March last year during a camping trip in Victoria. Those are some of the stories making the rounds there. It is all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Yeah, everything's gonna be alright, man. Okay, now on the African continent, what have we got for you? Ethiopia Prime Minister vows to lead from the war front. Now, Abiy Ahmed has said he will go to the front line to face Tigrayan rebels in the country's civil war. Interesting. He's talking about leadership by example. Well. Is there no other way that we can resolve this issue rather than just going on and on and on and on and on and on? Whilst calm has been called. Well, we'll be talking more in Nigeria. Well, Nigerian minister rejects Lekki massacre report. A leaked inquiry report says that armed forces internationally shot. My apologies. Let me bring it again. Now, a leaked inquiry report says that armed forces intentionally shot NSAS protests. But Nigerian minister rejects Lekki massacre report. I'll be bringing you more on that front. But don't you go away. Some more going to be coming your way from Nigeria. Well, Rwanda's genocide suspect tried in France. Some of the stories making the rounds there. And family of Sudan protest victim speaks out. At least 41 protesters have been killed in anti-coup protests in Sudan since generals deposed their country's civilian government. And Ivory Coast has planned to strengthen military force to recruit 3,000 soldiers. And in Egypt, Alexandria sees heavy thunderstorm for second day. It is all part of the El Nino weather phenomenon that is happening across the globe. Well. Lagos engages 125 private health facilities for COVID vaccine administration. And NSAS again, Lai Mohammed denies Lekki Tollgate massacre, says Lagos panel report riddled with discrepancies. Well, I tell you, I'm going to bring you more details on that. As we have said, is it Lai Mohammed? So, like Starr was saying yesterday, the government entities should stop bashing those who sat on that panel. Isn't that it was skewed towards the NSAS protesters? Well, we'll be looking into that story once we come back from the break. More about the gaps that Lai Mohammed is talking about there. It's gonna be alright. You said. Okay, we take a quick break and then bring you some lovely tune and then we continue with the show. Remember this afternoon exactly at 1:30 we'll be bringing you BB Means Business by BB Clement. Okay. So stay tuned, don't you go away. Now, some of the other stories that will be coming your way. E-Levy, Dada Bees must not run Ghana's economy. Jantua says, who are Dada Bees? Dadamba. Okay then. Mobile banker jailed 9 years for stealing 61,000 from 31 accounts. And the man has allegedly killed his girlfriend and dumped his body in a freezer. Those are some of the stories making the run. NDC chairman suspended for anti-party conduct. Which regional chairman is that? It's not the main chairman. It's not the national chairman. Okay. And Crowbar Group kicks against introduction of prepaid meters. Well, I remember back in the day, I think a couple of years ago, they've been protesting so much about prepaid meters, the bill that was given to them, and they said they're not going to pay. Now they are protesting against prepaid meters. Why? Is it that when by the time you slot you say jack, then your energy, you've already used whatever you bought or topped up? Well, this and a lot more going to be coming your way. It's all from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And former National Security Advisor Kojo Chikata passes away. I brought that story your way yesterday. John Kuma misleading Ghanaians on Momo tax, ASEPA is saying. And the 2022 budget must emphatic. Okay, let me take it again. 2022 budget most emphatic fixing the country movement. Most emphatic in what way? We'll be looking into all those stories once we come back. But getting ourselves ready for the update from Nigeria. But before then, I am number 2 most powerful man in Ghana. Not Baumia, Bagman Sides, CS Supreme Court Justice. Okay. Is that true? Is that true? Has it not been taken out of context? We'll be looking into those stories in a moment. But for now, stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, Don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Well, something smooth from the Tego sisters. Enjoy it.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Starr Radio UK. All around the world.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Radio UK.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
Your favorite Afro-Caribbean radio station.
This is Starr Radio UK.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone, worldwide, online 24/7.
The best radio show.
Okay, so leave everything in the hands of God for him to sort it out for you. Because you try to fight your own battles, you end up messing it up. Okay, yeah, word were wise as always. A friend would say, enough London. But it's not enough London, it's here, it's here. So wherever you are, once again, thank you very much for tuning in to this Tuesday edition of the morning show. Okay, now let's go to Nigeria, where the updates are coming from for now, and then we will move on to other part of the world to bring you all the stories there. Now, flight delays looms as air traffic controllers embark on strike in Nigeria. And then, when it comes to some of the other stories making the rounds there in Nigeria as well, Laya Mohammed, well, somebody say his name depicts what he says. Now, Laya Mohammed identified 7 errors in the hashtag NSAS panel report, and I'll be bringing you more on that front. So saying that the military shot those people, were they lying? Okay, you know, people who try to just score some points. And Lagos government reaction to Lekki toll gate findings shocking. A panel member Adoroboya is saying yesterday, I did talk about that. I did talk about the fact that some people were even trying to ask for his head, trying to virtually, and then Sowore was of the view that people should desist from doing so. Okay, so we'll be bringing you more on that front, but looks like most of the story today is all pertaining to what has happened in government's reaction to the NSAS report. Okay. And all coming from Lai Mohammed, who is the communications or minister or spokesperson for the government, whatever he is. Okay, but still a couple of other stories that I'll try to bring your way. Osibanjo Hills Coca-Cola plant $1 billion investment in Nigeria. Somebody say that's a good one there, but in such environment, do you think that will help? And then some other stories there as well. A lot more going to be coming your way from Starr Radio UK. So let's start from here. The Senate Committee on the Environment has uncovered the sum of 16 billion naira allegedly smuggled into the 2022 budget of the Ministry of Environment. The chairman of the committee, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, made this known on Monday before the appropriation panel to defend his committee's 2022 budget report. Noting that the same anomaly was discovered last year, the senator said money was meant to service loans believed to have been collected by the federal government on behalf of some states being ravaged by erosion. He noted the ministry had described the anomaly as a mistake. Now, Ekweremadu explained that the loans were supposed to be paid by the state for a period of 10 years starting from 2023. According to him, the loans will be deducted from the allocation to beneficiary states and not from the service-wide vote or the budget of agencies of the Environment Ministry. He explained that last year there was 6 billion naira in the environment's budget for the servicing of multilateral loan regarding erosion control. About 1.5 billion naira of it was released to the environment, and later the Ministry of Finance wrote saying it was a mistake, that it was supposed to be from the service-wide vote from where we service most of the loans, he added. Ekweremadu continued, so we took it in good faith, but surprisingly, we now got another 16 billion naira for the same reason from the Ministry of Environment. However, there was a directive from the leadership of the National Assembly that we should not tamper with monies provided for multilateral loans. Now, furthermore, the senator said they had invited the ministry. We said by the time they got their envelope and wanted to distribute to agencies, there was no such amount. The chairman explained that by the time the money came to the National Assembly, there was 16 billion naira for the servicing of new MAP loan. We asked when this money is due for servicing. They said they have a 10-year moratorium. We can't be providing for it until 2023. We also found out that about 21 states were benefiting from it, and it is these states that will pay the loan and not the federal government. Well, it is all coming from Starr Radio UK when it comes to we appropriating or misappropriating funds of states. Interesting. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, reactions from the Lagos state or Lagos government pertaining to the Lekki Toll Gate inquiry. Now, Ebun Olu Adegboruwa, a member of Lagos Judicial Panel for SARS-related abuses and other matters, says the state government's reaction to the report is shocking. Now, last week, the chairman, retired Justice Doris Okurobi, submitted findings and recommendations to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. In a piece on Tuesday, Adegboruwa touched on some aspects of the panel he believes can be beneficial to the judiciary and Nigeria. The senior advocate of Nigeria suggests that the commission be used as a reference for the justice system, calling for an end to lobbying in the appointment of judicial officers. The lawyer commended Sanwo-Olu for assembling men and women of integrity, men of whom he never met, including Justice Okurobi. The chairperson is no nonsense and fearless judicial officer who had demonstrated rare integrity on the bench before she retired honorably. She recorded all proceedings of the panel in longhand and had her own personal records and files for every petition. The other panel members were people with vast experiences in human rights, civil society organizations, criminology, and indeed general law enforcement and mechanism, he said. There was no preconceived notions or ideas, but rather superiority of intellectual arguments based on rational convictions. He said, if judges can be appointed without recourse to tribe or religion, they will perform better than the current trend where sometimes monarchs, politicians, and money bags determine who goes to the bench. Adegboruwa noted that the honest answers to questions about the panel's report are largely in the public domain when properly examined, devoid of emotions and politics. The Sen condemned distractions of supposed discrepancies or missing links that are being concocted even when certified through copies of proceedings. The Lekki investigations are available. Give it to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for keeping his vow not to interfere in the operations of the NSAS panel. At least for me, he goes on to say, and I believe this goes for other members. Not once was I approached to determine any petition in any particular way, and no overtures were made. Adegboruwa said, though the panel functioned under the Ministry of Justice, the Attorney General Moyosore Onigbanjo never tried to influence the decisions. Even when the panel had cause to approach him on some administrative issues, he would maintain the stance of the government that it is an independent panel. Such was their latitude. This is why the response of the same government to the outcome of the panel's activities is rather shocking. Now, he goes on further to say, if the government had a preconceived idea of what happened at the Lekki Toll Gate, this was not disclosed to us at all. The legal practitioner stated that the members proceeded upon the premise that they were free to dig out the truth and nothing but the truth. If judicial officers are given free hand to operate without undue interference, justice will come back to our land. Impunity will cease and everyone will fall in line, he added. Okay, so all that said and done. Now, what has the minister be saying about the Lekki Toll Gate? That is ruffling feathers this morning. Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has again denied that anyone was killed at the Lekki tollgate in Lagos during the EndSARS protest last year. Mr. Mohammed said the report by the panel set up by Lagos State to probe police brutality and shooting at the tollgate, which had indicted the military and police in the killing of protesters at the Lekki tollgate, is riddled with discrepancies. I'll try my best to bring you some of the discrepancies that he has seen or spotted. Maybe others have not done so. The Lagos panel report had said the killing of unarmed protesters by soldiers on October 20, 2020 could be described in the context of a massacre. But addressing a press conference in Abuja today, the information minister said the findings of the panel were not backed up with facts, arguing that discrepancies observed in the panel's report have never been seen in the history of any judicial panel set up in the country. Virtually poo-pooing the report. Now, Mohammed said it was shocking that the same allegation made by Nigerians were merely compiled and submitted as a report by the panel set up to investigate the claims of police brutality, noting that report was an intimidation of the majority by a minority. Really? Well, it is Starr Radio UK, updates from Nigeria. Mohammed said it was shocking that the same allegation, Mohammed said, without mincing words, let me say that never in the history of any judicial panel in this country has its report been riddled with so many errors, inconsistencies, discrepancies, speculations, innuendos, omissions, and conclusions that are not supported by evidence. It goes on further to say what is circulating in public space is simply a rehash of the unverified fake news that has been playing on social media since the incident of October 20, 2020. It is simply incredible that a judicial panel set up to investigate an incident has submitted a report laden with the same allegations it was set up to investigate in the first instance. Now, instead of sitting for all of 1 year, the panel could have just compiled social media tales by the moonlight on the incident and submitted, saving taxpayers' funds and everyone's time. That report is nothing but a triumph of fake news and the intimidation of a silent majority by a vociferous lynch mob. Wow. The report of the panel in circulation cannot be relied upon because its authenticity is in doubt. There is absolutely nothing in the report circulating to change our mind that there was a massacre at the Lekki toll gate. So the question is, those who died from that incident, what killed them? Who shot at them? I remember when the report came at first, we had people who were calling for him to be fired because he actually debunked the fact that people were killed. Nigerians on Tuesday expressed their view about the statement of the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, on the report submitted by the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry on Restitution for Victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters. Lai Mohammed, during a press conference in Abuja today, had described the report of the panel as fake, saying the document was full of discrepancies and errors. Recall that the panel led by Justice Doris Okuwobi submitted a report to the Lagos State government claiming that not less than 11 people were killed at the Lekki toll gate protest on October 2020. The minister in the statement further said that Lagos Judicial Panel failed to address some of the issues raised by ballistic experts that testified before it and the testimonies of the Nigerian army. Mohammed is also knocked the panel for compiling allegations made by Nigerians and submitting them as a report to Lagos State government, adding that the panel failed to investigate the claims of police brutality. So did the police brutalize the people? Or were they shot at as well? Did people die from that massacre? Was there a massacre at all? Well, I think this is going to go on for a very, very long time. Well, let me bring you some of the points that he used to discredit the report. Now, first of all, he talks about the ballistic reports. The minister stated that the report threw away the testimony of ballistic experts who testified before it. The experts said, inter alia, in their testimony, the team finds that from the medical data examined, including the timeline of arrival at medical facility and the nature of injuries sustained by the victims who were taken to 5 medical facilities, that no military grade live ammunition, which is high velocity, was fired at the protesters at the Lekki toll gate on the 20th of October within the time frame of reference, that is 1830 to 2034 hours. That the GSW, that's gunshot wounds, injuries for a number between 1905 and 1945 hours, which were examined by the team, can be safely identified as being discharged by either low velocity caliber and or artisanal, that's the 12 gauge firearms. Artisanal firearms are locally fabricated weapons. What is, however, certain is that the military personnel deliberately fired military grade live ammunition directly at the protesters. There would have been significantly more fatalities and catastrophic injuries recorded. This clearly is not the case. That's what he's saying. Now let's move on to his second point, that is talking about the forensics. The minister said the same panel that said it deemed as credible the evidence of the forensic pathologist, Professor John Obafunwa, that only 3 of the bodies on which most post-mortem were conducted were from Lekki, and only 1 had gunshot injury, went on to contradict itself by saying 9 persons died of gunshot wounds at Lekki. Now, moving on to the victim's testimony. There too he says, the man whose evidence that he counted 11 bodies in the military van where he was left for dead before he escaped was found to be crucial by the panel never testified in person. Rather, the video of his testimony was played by someone else. It did not occur to the panel to query the veracity of the testimony of a man who said he was shot and presumed dead, but still had time to count dead bodies inside a supposedly dark van at night. Well, so it's still trying to punch holes in the report. Bloodstains and bullet cases. The minister said the panel said trucks with brushes underneath were brought to the Lekki toll gate in the morning of October 21, 2020 to clean up bloodstains and other evidence, but still found bullet casings at the same time at the same site when it visited on October 30, 2020. It said soldiers picked up bullets casing from Lekki toll gate on the night of October 20, 2020, yet claimed that the policemen came to the same spot to pick the same bullet casings on October 21st, 2020. Now, so who do you believe? Do you believe the committee that was set up to investigate this issue, or do you believe Liar Muhammad? Now, moving on to the fifth point that he's trying to punch holes in there, that is families of the victims. Now, Alhaji Muhammad said the panel was silent on the family members of those reportedly killed, merely insinuating they were afraid to testify. Even goats have owners who will look for them if they do not return home. Not to talk of human beings. Where are the family members of those who were reportedly killed at the Lekki toll gate? He continues and he asks that question. If the panel is recommending compensation for the families, what are their identities and addresses? Who will receive the compensation when no family members have shown up to date? Now, moving on to the victims list and massacre, the minister queried, how can a judicial panel convince anyone that the names of some casualties of the Lekki Tollgate incident listed as numbers 3, that is Jide, 42 Tola, and 43 Wisdom, are not fictitious names? Now, it goes further to say, why did the judicial panel compel to concoct a massacre in context as euphemism for massacre? A massacre is a massacre. What is massacre in context? Moving into the 7 punch hole. Now, Mohammed queried, the report didn't make any recommendations on the innocent people whose businesses were attacked and destroyed during the protests in Lagos. It was right to say, I think it was too busy looking for evidence to support its conclusion of massacre in context. In conclusion, the minister said the report of the panel in circulation cannot be relied upon because its authenticity is in doubt. Besides, the Lagos state government, being the convening authority, has yet to release any official report to the public. Neither has the panel done so. The cowardly leakage of an unsigned report to the public is not enough, assuming the report in circulation bears any iota of genuineness. It is basic knowledge that the report of such a panel is of no force until the convening authority issues a white paper and a gazette on it. It is therefore too premature for any person or entity to seek to castigate the federal government and its agencies or officials based on such an unofficial and unvalidated report. He ends there. But let me say good morning to Ismaila Ajadi Soboro. He says good morning, and he said Nigeria is a 419 new. Now, if you're listening to us with all this that's going on, now what do you think? What do you actually think about this report and the reaction from the federal government? Because the information minister is the one who speaks for government. What do you actually think about it? It is quite worrying. And it says, the final one, before I bring the update to a close, because today is virtually based on the statement that Lai Mohammed has made. The federal government has rejected the report of the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry and Restitution on Lekki Tollgate shooting, which had indicted the Nigerian police and military. He says, which was inaugurated in October 20, had last week submitted its findings. That's despite the report, the Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed, on Tuesday during the press conference insisted that it was recycled fake news. Lai Mohammed stated that for the federal government to change its stance on the report, there must be more investigation. According to the minister, the report, which is currently in circulation, was calculated to embarrass President Muhammadu Buhari's government and its agencies without foolproof evidence. He says there is absolutely nothing in the report that is circulating to make us change our stance that there was no massacre at Lekki on October 20th, 2020. For us to change our stance, a well-investigated report of the incident that meets all required standards and will withstand every scrutiny must be produced and presented to the public. You're listening to me. What do you think about it, especially with our listeners in Nigeria? Did you think the panel did a good job investigating the issue that went on? Or can I say that it's one of those things where it's just government trying to debunk any story and calling it fake just to cover their backside? What do you think about all this? It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to take a break, and then I bring you a tune that I've carefully selected for all my Nigerian listeners, those of you here in the diaspora and those of you in other places of the world. And let me say good morning to Sister Gina Latte, who has joined us as well. Ismail Ajadi says that end Nigeria now, Yoruba nation now. What do you think? Okay. I will bring you one other story before we take the break.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, 11:40 now. That's 20 minutes to 12. Exactly at 12 o'clock, I'll be opening the lines for you to add your voice to the discussions. But before then, if you want to put your comments, feel free to do so, even as we look into some reports coming from Nigeria pertaining to the reaction by of the federal government pertaining to the inquiry, the Commission of Inquiry that was set to investigate the Lekki Toll Gate massacre. Well, they've put the report saying it's a recycled fake news. Said who? Laya Mohammed. All right then. Now let's move on to a final story. Those clamoring for Igbo presidency in 2023 are jokers. Tinubu group says. Kunle Okunola, the convener of Tinubu not negotiable. Okay, Tinubu not negotiable. The TNN, one of the groups pushing for the candidacy of our former Lagos State Governor Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be president in 2023, has described those clamoring for a president of Igbo extraction as jokers. Now, Kunola, chieftain of the All Progressive Congress, said attempts by some members of the APC from the southeast to seek the office of presidency was an effort in futility, because the region wasted 60 years of its quality time in the People's Democratic Party, that the PDP, and now wants to actualize its ambition in APC. The TNN convener, who spoke at a press briefing yesterday while unveiling the group in Lagos, said the Southeast has nothing to show for supporting the PDP and does not have any candidate that can beat Tinubu in 2023. Now, Kunola, a former Lagos State PDP organizing secretary, said though some Nigerians were of the opinion that the Southeast region deserved to have a shot at the presidency, those with such a view should have seen why the Southeast has never being taken serious. So if somebody is from the southeast, I don't know what you might be thinking about yourself today, listening to me and listening to this story. He goes on further to say, we only saw Atiko Tambuwal and Zaraki on the field. The southeast people were now moving in droves to APC to get tickets. That tells you that they are not serious. Nobody has marginalized them, but their political style has actually marginalized them. He goes on further to say, you spent 60 years of your quality time in PDP and you cannot fight for presidency there. You abandoned your goal post to struggle for the presidency in APC, Okunola said. Now, taking time to explain the reason he has been canvassing support for the Tinubu, Okunola pointed out that TNN stands for power rotation and the unity of the country. Our support is not limited to Tinubu. We also support the unity of the country. We have actually been promoting power rotation. We want power to rotate to the south and go to credible hands. That is why we narrowed it down to Tinubu, and also we expressed our support for the unity of Nigeria. Now, Tinubu's chances of becoming Nigeria's president is very bright and can never be affected by the APC's problem, he added. Now, this is where I bring to an end the updates from Nigeria. So, even there listening to me, with all the stories that has gone on in Nigeria for today, what do you think? Well, my producers have alerted me on one story that I need to touch on because it's pertaining to aviation, and as many of you who want to be traveling to Nigeria today or traveling there today, I don't know how the Air Traffic Controllers Association are going to be meeting you. Now, the Nigerian Air Traffic Controllers Association has lamented poor working conditions and threatened industrial actions following the death of their colleague, Enikan Effiong Enoch, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. The group, in a statement jointly signed on Tuesday by their president and secretary Abayomi Agoro and Agbonalaho Felix, said in the last 2 years they have lost 9 members on active service due to stress-related health complications which seem associated with poor working conditions and inadequate staffing. The association also gave an ultimatum of 2 weeks commencing from the date of the press release for their demands to be addressed. Otherwise, it said, we cannot guarantee industrial harmony. They also announced the commencement of 3-hour flow control for 2 days to press home their demands. Nigeria Air Traffic Controllers Association rose from an emergency meeting conveyed over the tragic, painful, and avoidable exit of one of our diligent and dedicated colleague, Mr. Enikan Effiong Enoch, in the early hours of Monday, November 22, 2021. Now, several appeals to management and other stakeholders in the industry and the inaction by appropriate managers on communiques from the association past annual general meetings had failed to address the issues. The death of Mr. Enikan Effiong Enoch on active duty at Abuja Airport, whose sad event is not unconnected with the unavailability of an operational vehicle to move him to hospital in record time, among others, is one too many. So do they mean to say that they don't have ambulances at the airport? That somebody should land, should a plane land and say that, well, we have an issue and therefore somebody needs to be transported quickly, ASAP, to a hospital? Are they going to say they didn't have anything of the sort for this person who was ill to be transported to a hospital for treatment? My goodness. Please, let us rise up. Let us wake up. If we are slumbering, if we are sleeping, let us wake up. Because at times, some of the stories are sad that you read them or you go through them and you think, are we living or are we surviving? Well, a lot more stories going to be coming your way from other parts of the world. But if you are listening to us from Nigeria, well, the Minister for Information and Culture, Alhaji Laya Muhammad, has said all the reports from the panel or the committee that sat to review the Lekki Toll Gate massacre or the NSAS demonstration and the death that occurred are all fake news that has been recycled. All right, well, let me bring you a tune. Sunny Okusun, which way Nigeria now? Are we going to see people now rising and reacting to this report or this statement by the Minister of Information and Culture? Or what is going to be? Is it going to just take it on the chin and then we just move on with our lives? Or as he said, even goats have owners. Maybe those who died are less than goats and might not have owners. Well, enjoy the music and I'll be with you, but reflect on what we said today and share your take with us on the platform. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Which way Nigeria way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government. We know everything that goes wrong because we are part of the government. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Inefficiency and indiscipline is ruining the country now. Corruption here, there and everywhere. Inflation is soaring high. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh sure, sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. We made mistakes during the oil boom, not knowing that was our doom. Some people now have everything, while many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Green revolution is a reality. Let's give it a chance to grow. Let's join our hands to farm the land so we can have enough food to show. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is headed to. Our ambition to be millionaires is running the country down. We all want to be millionaires and to live in the air. Oh, let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, we want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Remember that a simple step is the beginning of a million miles. Let's start right now to rebuild ourselves so as to make the country smile. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Heaven and earth will pass away. It is written in the book of God. The good people will
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
One more time. Which way Nigeria is heading to? Let's say
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It's now gone 4 minutes to the top of the hour. It is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Yes, I'm Archie. Mr. Frank Davis is not here, and Mr. Olaimi Koike is also not here. They are all on an errand. Okay, I'll be telling you more about that during the course of the week. Yeah, because they're trying to sort few things out. Yes, trying to see whether we can get some outside broadcasts and stuff like that. A lot more from outside. Hey. So wherever you are, continue to stay with me. Don't you go away at all. I'm going to make sure I make your day. You want your day made? Yes, I'm here to serve you breakfast, brunch. But it's now time, almost time for me serving you brunch. So let me announce the lines open, and then we can move on to some of the other stories making the rounds this morning. This afternoon. Now, if you want to call me or you want to be part of the program, call me on 0208-133-2257 or 58. 0208-133-2257 or 58. If you happen to be in the US or Canada, you can call me on 001-718-303-2737. 001-718-303-2737. You can also text or WhatsApp us. It is 07539661744. 07539661744. Our Twitter handle is @Starr Radio UK. Our email address is info@starradiouk.com. If you happen to, where you are, you just want to Skype at us, feel free to do so. Our Skype ID is Starr Radio UK 1. Starr Radio UK 1. Okay, if you're able to do that, I'll make sure that I allow you to add your voice to the discussions. But it is now almost 12 o'clock, and now we're going to be looking at some of the stories making the rounds here and other parts of the world. Of course, let's move on to the stories. Stay tuned and stay with me. Okay. So now moving on straight to some of the stories that has made the rounds in the UK and other parts of the world. Okay. Ding. All right then. Yes. Now in the UK front, COVID testing advice changes in run up to Christmas. So what has government got in stock for us? COVID testing advice changes as we go into. People should take a rapid lateral flow test before going to high risk settings like busy shopping areas. That is what is coming from WHO. Okay. I'm going to bring you all those details. But work from home where possible. That's what Northern Ireland is saying to its citizens. And people in Northern Ireland will be urged to work from home where possible as part of efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19. Now, some ministers met earlier to agree how best to manage the virus as winter approaches. Now, Health Minister Robin Swan presented a paper to ministers for consideration on Monday, which recommended that anyone who worked from home last year when the pandemic began should do so again. However, it understood that executives recognizes not all employers who will be able to do this again. Now, current advice already says people should work from home where possible, but ministers want to bolster the message ahead of Christmas. A COVID task force will also examine issues around the enforcement of wearing of masks and others. Okay. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. Let me say good morning to, okay, now it's afternoon. Just a minute, a quick break, and then we'll look at some of the other stories. Okay, but remember, this afternoon exactly at 1:30, it is coming your way. What is coming your way? BB means business with BB Clement, coming your way this afternoon exactement at 1:30.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Okay, welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on to some of the other stories as we were saying. Okay, so that's from Northern Ireland. It's understood that Northern Ireland Executive has also asked its COVID task force to look at issues around the enforcement of wearing face masks, as well as the potential of setting up a food hygiene rating style system to classify businesses on their compliance with COVID rules and mitigation, which could be advertised outside on doors and windows. A statement is expected from Stormont ministers shortly, setting out public messaging over the next few weeks. Now, NHS staff crashing and burning out. Former A&E nurse is saying there as well. We've been speaking to NHS workers about the toll the pandemic has taken on their mental health. One former A&E nurse, Emily Morehouse from London, says that she and her colleagues have run off adrenaline for the past year, and that adrenaline is running out. Now, Emily has now moved to a community nursing role, but many others have left the professional entirely, and that is how devastating the impact of the pandemic on nurses and medical staff. Now, COVID booster jab effect seen in official data. The impact of the COVID booster vaccination program giving people better protection as we head into winter can now be seen in data, according to Office of the National Statistics, at the ONS. It publishes fortnightly figures on how many people in the community test positive for antibodies that can fight the virus. The body makes this following vaccination or infection. The latest release shows the percentage of adults with antibodies is high, above 90% across the UK. Older people who are most at risk of getting seriously ill from the COVID infection had shown declining antibodies levels over the last few months, but the data now shows a rise in this protection. Okay, this increase seen in people age 70 over is likely due to booster jabs, says the ONS. Now, as mentioned earlier, people in England are being advised to take free lateral flow tests before going to crowded places or spending time with people who are at high risk from the virus. They were previously asked to take lateral flow tests twice a week. Okay, but the information coming from government, which I'm going to put across, says that yes. Okay, it is possible to catch and spread COVID-19 even if you are fully vaccinated. Anyone with COVID-19 symptoms or positive test result should stay at home and self-isolate immediately. If you have symptoms of COVID-19, you should arrange to take a PCR test as soon as possible, even if you've had one or more doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. Now, COVID-19 will be a feature of, okay, as we were trying to say. So I was trying to see if I could bring you how you could get the instructions pertaining to you having a lateral flow test. Now, lateral flow test works by detecting materials from the surface proteins of the virus. They can be done at home and show results in 20 to 30 minutes. If you have one line, negative, 2 lines, C on the T, positive, you have only on the T, invalid, only on the C with a faint line on the T, it's a positive there as well. So those are some of the updates that is coming from the COVID. Now you look at the situation that is happening in Europe, and it's quite scary because people ask themselves, what is going to happen next? Is it because, we know even when the pandemic was serious, we didn't even shut the borders. People were just moving to and fro. I was saying to and fro, and I remember I was in secondary school, and my general science teacher, Mr. Oforetete, he would say, in particles, in solids, the particles are compact. They move to and fro without changing their positions. So that clicked. Now he'll be, eating his peanuts and then be teaching and then be saying to and fro, and so we remember that greatly. Yes, all that he said, guys, the 7980 people, okay, well, so that is what happened there. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So bring you some of the stories making the rounds here in the UK. Okay, yeah. So in Westminster, the funeral service is taking place at Westminster Cathedral, pertaining to who? Yes, pertaining to Sir David Ameche. Now, the Pope has praised Sir David Ameche for years of devoted public service in a message read at the funeral service for the late Conservative MP. Senior political figures gathered at Westminster Cathedral to pay their respect to Sir David. Prime Minister Boris Johnson joined former Prime Minister, the Speaker of the House, and the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, at the service. Sir David was fatally stabbed during the constituency surgery in October. In a message delivered by Archbishop Claudio Gugerotti, the Apostolic Nuncio to Great Britain, Pope Francis called for mourners resolved to be strengthened to combat evil with good and build a society of ever greater justice following the devout Catholic's death. Now, His Holiness recalls with gratitude Sir David's years of devoted public service, guided by his strong Catholic faith and evidence in his deep concern for the poor and the disadvantaged, in his commitment to the defense of God's gift of life, and his effort to foster understanding and cooperation with the Holy See in its universal mission. The Pope message said there. Commenting Sir David's soul, commending Sir David's soul to the loving mercy of Jesus Christ, our Savior, the Holy Father prays that all who honor his memory will be confirmed in the resolve to reject the ways of violence, to combat evil with good, and to help build a society of ever greater justice, fraternity, and solidarity. Now it goes on further to say the Southern West MP was attacked at the Belfast Methodist Church in Leigh-on-Sea on the 15th of October. Speaking before the service, former Conservative MP Anne Widdecombe said he was a very close personal friend, and we all say, may his soul rest in perfect peace, and may his death bring about more closeness than we going or having that deep-centered division among people. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 10 minutes past the top of the hour, and we're still bringing you some of the stories making the rounds here in the UK. Now, Boris Johnson has narrowly succeeded in getting MPs to back his social care. It goes on further to say cap for England despite a significant Tory rebellion. The Commons endorsed plans announced last week to exclude means-tested council support payments from a new 86,000 lifetime limit on costs. Now, Labour and other opposition parties rejected the plan, arguing that poorer people will lose out from the change. The Prime Minister has insisted it is more generous than the current system. The cap will cover fees from personal care like help with washing and dressing. It will not cover living costs such as care home fees, food or utility bills. Under the government's wider social care plan from October 2023, those with assets of less than 20,000 will not have to pay anything from these towards care fees, although they might have to pay from their income. 2. Those with more than 100,000 in assets, the value of their homes, savings or investment, will not get any financial help from the council. And then the third one, those with assets between 20,000 and 100,000 will qualify for council help, but will have to pay 86,000 out of their own pocket to reach the cap. On Monday night, MPs backed an amendment to health and care bill required to implement the government's proposed cap by 272 votes to 246. The 19 Conservative MPs voted against the government. It is believed a further 28 defied party orders to back the plan and abstained instead. The bill will now head to the House of Lords, where peers are widely expected to push for changes to the government's blueprint for how the cap will work. Now, defending the policy, Health Minister Edward Aga said no one will lose from the reforms compared with the current system, and the majority of people will win. Now, pushed by colleagues, he said he believed it was important that an assessment of the impact should be made available before the bill completed its passage through Parliament. The Tory rebels included former Senior Minister Esther McVeigh and Mark Harper, while former Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt was among those who abstained. Mr. Hunt said the government's wider plans for social care were a step in the right direction and an improvement on what we have today. But he said its plans for calculating the cap were a big disappointment and not as generous as people like me wanted. Well, after a self-proclaimed mistake, after sleaze that led to a fortnight of grisly headlines and howls of complaints about plans for the railway last week, Boris Johnson's appearance at an important annual business conference could have been a moment to reassert his authority, to remind his backbenchers what the might of a leader with an 80-seat majority looks like. But that is really not what happened out there. Now, if anything, the day gave his backbench troops a painful visual metaphor to agonize over, of a prime minister leafing through the pages of his prepared speech, asking for forgiveness because he has quite literally lost his place. It is All Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 14 minutes past the top of the hour. A couple of stories more from the UK, and then we can move on to other parts of the world to look at some of the stories making the rounds there as well. A very sad story once again. Now, 2 men continue to be questioned by police after a man and a woman were killed at a house in a village with 2 young children inside. They were found with serious injuries at a house in Dragon Rise in Norton Fitzwarren near Taunton, Somerset at about 21:45 hours on Sunday. The pair, aged in their 30s, both died at the scene, Avon and Somerset police have said. And the two men, aged 34 and 67, have been arrested on suspicion of murder. The children in the property were unhurt, the force has said. Detective Inspector Neil May said, while this appears to be an isolated incident, there will be increased police activity in the area to provide community with reassurance. Neighbors described the area as quiet, with one describing the victims as very friendly. Another said he had not realized anything was wrong. We slept through it all, he said. And a very sad situation there. Once again, we say, may their souls rest in perfect peace. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, in a very, crazy storyline, an online troll who abused a woman because she had defended celebrity Daniela Westbrook has been jailed. Now, police said Natasha Dawn targeted the woman on Twitter and Instagram after the victim backed the ex-EastEnders actress when Dawn trolled her online. The woman told police the 43-year-old had sent her 20 to 80 offensive tweets and messages most day for 9 months. Now, Detective Sergeant Lee Kirk of the Nottinghamshire Police said Dawn's behavior was genuinely shocking. At Nottingham Crown Court, Dawn of Sheridan Court, Stapleford, was jailed for 3 years on Friday after pleading guilty to 3 counts of stalking. Ms. Westbrook had since spoken of a relief at the sentencing online. Now, this cyberbullying thing that goes on, I try to ask myself the question, what is going on? Live your life and leave others to live their lives. What do you think? Well, it's all Starr Radio, okay? You have your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, bringing you some stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. But let's take a quick break and a sip of a bit of water or a hot drink, whichever is appropriate that you are taking, and we can bring you the news that is making the rounds in other parts of the world. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes.
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my matchness, Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. Of darkness.
So what did that
myself and the world in adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Welcome back to the program, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And the one and only, the CEO program comes your way every Tuesday exactly at 8 o'clock. That is 20 hours GMT. But at this juncture, I've got with me Kojo D from South London, who has joined in. And let me say, Kojo, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Archie. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing very, very well. And you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Great.
Really loud and clear.
Loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Because I'm trying another device.
Oh, okay. It's working very, very good. Very good.
Not my usual device.
Okay. Loud and clear. Okay. Yes. I don't know whether you've been following the stories and some of the comments that we're putting across, but let me quickly take you to what has happened in Nigeria. I don't know whether you picked on that one.
Yeah, my God.
And Lai Mohammed's statement. Yeah. Well, how do you see it? Especially when we're looking at division in Nigeria and people think being marginalized. How do you see this statement?
Look, I was listening to the statement when you were reading it, and I just said, What kind of planet do some of these politicians live or come from? Look, he is trying desperately, so hard, to really rubbish the statement before it's even published. It's a sad story. Look, people have lost their lives.
Yeah.
The whole Nigeria know of the brutality meted out by the SARS people, by those security forces. Everybody knows that soldiers were involved shooting live ammunition. How can it come with, look, which one is a fake story or fake news? It appears to me what he is putting across to the public is rather fake news. And he's finding it so difficult to dismantle the findings, and he's rubbishing the judicial findings, saying, look, what kind of government does that? Because you want the judges to toe your line. That looks a lot more like dictatorial.
Yeah.
You want a government to toe your line. The government want the judges to toe a certain specific line. But let's forget, judges are independent-minded people.
Yeah.
Look, even if you have bought them, they are in the pocket of the government. It will still be extremely difficult to turn something that is black and white to purple and green. And that is exactly what he is trying to do. I can't get why he is even trying to do that. If really I were him, I wouldn't have really gone into trying to muddle the waters. I think the government should have just gone white. Right? And rather than Lai Mohammed trying to put across a message and dismiss it as fake, whether it's fake or not, and going right to trying to disprove that even the forensic evidence that was submitted is fake.
Yeah, all concocted.
Casting doubt on the scientific ability of the forensic scientist. Is he trying to say that these poor souls who went to demonstrate have the ability to buy judges, have the ability to buy forensic scientists, have the ability to buy independent-minded people to toe a certain line and do a certain kind of report? Is that what he's putting across? I find it so difficult to really understand the way his mind is working at this point. So is he becoming a minister of disinformation, of giving proper information out to people? It's so difficult that he our address journalists. Doesn't he think that these journalists will actually look into it and choosing words are saying they are tales of moonlight? I find it so difficult that people will come to grips, as a government, to come to grips with what has happened and know it is wrong, it shouldn't have happened, and discounting the killing of 11 people, and even going to the extent to say it didn't really happen.
But do you think that maybe if the panel that investigated this or sat on it, maybe were picked from other parts of the country, so not people from Lagos State, maybe that would have been better. Maybe that would have given the credence that he think that this investigation should have given.
What difference would it have made?
Maybe bringing people from the north and stuff like that. Some judges from there.
What difference would they have made? Even if they pick people from the moon and bring them in, and they arrive at the same conclusion, he will go out to rubbish it. It doesn't really matter where the people were picked. Look, if somebody commits murder and it goes to court before judges, where do they select the jury from? From the community.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if that has happened in that community, where do you pick people from? People who are connected within the community to come out and investigate. So, is it saying that this judicial panel that was appointed, who appointed them? Did they appoint themselves?
No.
They were appointed by the government, by his own government.
Yeah.
But because they didn't deliver to what he expected them to deliver, he now has to come out and, rubbish their findings. Their findings haven't actually even come out, but it's been leaked out. So he's come out to rubbish it, which is strange to me. I mean, if I were him, they would have taken this on board and said, there could be just a simple statement coming from him that, look, we have learned the lessons and we're going to move on.
Yeah.
And that would have stopped everything. Look, from where we stand in the West here, look, when there are panels, when there are inquiries, which is famous in the UK, they do inquiries. When there's an inquiry, judge-led inquiry, normally what do the politicians say? They don't rubbish it. They come out and say, the lessons have been learned.
That's right.
And we'll move on.
Yeah.
And you find out within a short time, all the big talk about it sort of disappears. But what he's going to do is going to put more ammunition in the hands of the opposition to now descend on him. Already they don't believe in that government.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is he doing? He's throwing more ammunition to
the opposition.
The opposition. So I find it very difficult for him to come out and say, and even going to the extent of saying that the people who died are from the area. So where should the people come from? the protestation was happening in where?
In Lagos.
Exactly. It wasn't happening in Abuja. It wasn't happening in Abuja. We can understand. It was happening in Lagos. So the people who will be protesting, the greater majority of
they will be coming from there.
They will be coming from the Lagos state. And Lagos itself has the biggest population in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So what is he talking about? I mean, Lagos alone, it forms about maybe a tenth of the population of the country.
Yeah. Yeah. They have about 20 million people there.
Million people.
Yeah.
That is the whole population.
Yeah, that's 10%. 10% of the population of Nigeria.
That's what I'm saying. A tenth.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's up to really with all the things he's trying to say, talking about inconsistencies and discrepancies without even mentioning even one item he believes to be inconsistent. And so has he written his own panel a report that he wants to submit on behalf of the panel? God have mercy on African nations.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wake-up call to Nigerians. I mean, when you have a government who consistently is at war with any other institution it perceives to be against it, it's the recipe of a failing government.
Yeah. Yeah.
They pick up a fight with Twitter because Nigerians will post things onto Twitter. So there's a ban on Twitter, and they went to a relatively known India type of Twitter, which is only patronized by a small percentage even of India. And they now decided to go and use it at the official government. Who goes there to tweet? Who goes there to listen to? Who goes there? Nobody. They pick up fights with other media that they think are opposition. They pick up fights with lately they even pick up fights with even state-run media, because the state-run media is not towing their line. I find it so appalling, if I put it that way, of a government who came in to try to stem corruption.
Yeah.
And they now are being seen more as corrupt.
Well, listeners, that is it for what is happening in Nigeria. It's now gone 12:30 exactly in South London. Kojo D for you, and I'm here, Archie, and we are bringing you the rest of the morning show. Okay, now, with the COVID infection that is going on in Europe. I mean, I think last Friday when we were looking at the stories, there were demonstrations going to be going on, and we saw what happened over the weekend, and the fact that we have Austria that is in lockdown, and people try, and then we are talking about the booster jobs and stuff like that. Well, some information that has come through now is saying that COVID testing advice changes in run up to Christmas, and that everybody going to any place where there's a gathering should have a lateral flow test before they go there. How possible would that be, or what impact would that have on the infection rates?
Well, I think what we're trying to do is a soft approach to telling people to be quiet, very careful where they go, and telling people that they should be conscious of where they go, and actually telling people that do not go to places if you think you have an infection, and going in and mingling with a huge number of people have passed it on to them. So I think it's just a guidance and an approach. Just like when before we started easing off gradually, you know what was happening? Government was actually encouraging people to take a lateral flow test.
Yeah.
So when you pass through town centers, shopping venues, you go into sporting facilities, you can also pick up a kit and test yourself. But over time, when you go to some of the shopping centers, the kits are no longer available really. I wanted to pick one for a friend last week. I was told, you can pick it up from the pharmacy. Yeah. And so I think what government is trying to do, they simply trying to see how possible it is to minimize the spread of the disease. How when you look at the graph, comparing the graph between European countries and the UK is below, but it is gradually urging up. More so in the age groups 70 and above.
Yeah.
It's probably going up. So really what government is saying is, okay, there will be a rush for people trying to shop, which people go into crowded places to shop, which I doubt really. A lot of people are not doing that. So many people have taken to online shopping. Right? So most people are still shopping online.
Yeah.
But it's just a kind of an encouragement for people, because I know some friends that I know. One of them was going to a sporting venue. He decided to do a lateral flow test.
Yeah.
And in fact, he wanted one of those, and I said, I'll pick one from the shopping center for you. And when I went to the shopping center, there was none to pick.
People are picking it all. Wow.
Yeah, people are picking it up. And the guys were telling me, just go into a pharmacy and pick it up. So, I mean, it's a great thing that people have been encouraged to test themselves and make sure. And some of the universities have also started
they are doing that. Yeah, because last Saturday we went for an event in one of the universities, and when they told us to do a lateral flow test before coming in, so we could even show them before we enter, so that it keeps the spread. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's in order, and I think it's in line with they knowing that in the winter, the virus is likely to shoot up. The coronavirus is likely to go up, and probably hospital admissions will also start going up. And the NHS will be forced to go under pressure. Links to one of the stories, links nicely to one of the stories you picked up earlier on about nurses and NHS staff.
Yeah, being burnt out.
Exactly. They're suffering from a lot of burnt out, and some of them are thinking of changing the exact roles they play within the NHS, moving into other departments, which is less stressful, becoming community-based nurses instead of being in the hospital and being in a ward and ICU. So I think it's just in order, and it's great for everybody to try to do it.
Okay, but do you think that maybe, like when the COVID started, we were talking. I mean, we were advocating that the border should be shut. The border should be shut, and they weren't shut in the border. Do you think that there should be more controls that people who enter the UK should be fully vaccinated at least?
Yeah, I think that is a system now. People who have double vaccine and they are coming into the country, they show their double vaccine status, and they are not required to go into immediate quarantine. So what most of them are doing, I've had a friend coming into the country quite recently. He has to show, he has to do a PCR test and show that he's negative before he could even get into the plane. But however, when he arrived in the UK, because he is already double jabbed, he sort of just need to show his test for the PCR, which was done 48 hours before he got into the flight, and show his status also are showing he had a double vaccine. And when he was when he was about to leave the country, he again went to do another PCR test to show before he got into the plane, because he was going into the US. So again, show his. So I think it's in order. People coming in should show either they are they've done a PCR test to show that they are not carrying the virus, or they are double jabbed together with a test. So I think that UK is now in slightly a better position than most of the European countries.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, 12:37 the time, and we're looking at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Now, threat of Israeli strike on Iran nuclear sites grows, and that's quite a worrying story, because those of us who are religious, we talk about the fact that the Middle East, we talk about Israel, relate everything there. And so when you see such stories looming, you ask yourself, what is going to happen next? The turquoise waters of the Red Sea, Israeli, Emirati, and Bahraini naval forces for the first time just days ago rehearsed joint security operations with a U.S. warship. So this is not only Israel trying to flex its muscles, but we have Israel, the Emirates, Bahrain forces together doing this. Is it a threat against what we call Iran? And therefore, looking at Iran, the fact that they said that they are trying to stockpile some nuclear whether they are now building their nuclear warhead program that they are doing. Do you think that it's going to bring about some clashes in there that will spread across the globe?
At the moment, I don't think so. I think what is happening is that the U.S. is positioning itself strategically in places that it perceives that Russia wants to have an influence. And you know some of these Middle Eastern countries, although some of them might be Arabian, or they might speak Arabic, or they might be, I didn't want to use the word Islam for the sake of using word. So let's use Islam. They are also Islamic states, but they seriously do not practice the same type of Islam. And Iran increasingly is becoming a voice within the Middle East, supposedly backed by Russia.
Yeah.
So the West and Israel are also similar. They have America specifically backs Israel to also stabilize the Middle East, and America will work with Saudi Arabia and some of the other Gulf states who necessarily do not want the influence of Iran. So really what they're trying to do is to tell Iran that, hey, the masters are here. If you want to really play rogue with us, as they think Iran is a rogue state.
Yeah.
If you want to play rogue with us, we will show you how we can do it. And this all comes at the background that a week ago, Russia was also doing its own kind of stuff around.
Yeah.
Remember, they even blew up a satellite.
Yeah, in space. Yeah.
And when you look at the debris that surrounded the Earth, that's the first time I've ever seen that picture. I said, wow, is that a destruction really?
And they have some of their jets trained into the British airspace as well. A couple of them.
A couple of them. So they are testing NATO, they are testing the Middle East through the back door of using Iran as a proxy. And Syria is also aligned to Iran. So Syria, we know, is already a mess. So that is the kind of thing they're trying to do. And the Western countries led by America is also trying to bring some kind of influence in the place and say, look, we are the masters of Middle East.
Yeah.
But as to how that is going to play, I don't know. In the past, they're taking drones to take out plants, atomic, let's say they are testing chemical weapon plants in Iran. They're taking them out. So they are still capable of doing it.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a message they want to put across, really. We're not going to see an escalation, really. It's just a message.
Okay. Well, let's hope it just stays a message, not escalating into anything that will trouble our lives. Okay, but it is already okay. Just hopping straight onto the African continent. Now, yesterday, information came through that South Sudan has the military. So I call them military junta. That's what they call like that. I reinstated the prime, the president. Okay, that they overthrew. Is the prime minister or president that overthrew? That they overthrew in October. However, there were people who were supporters of the civilian government that were still saying that, well, they were not satisfied with the fact that they've sworn in a civilian, they've reinstated the civilian leader. Now, we are looking at it, and we know that if care is not taken, it's going to escalate, like what is happening in Ethiopia, that is escalating, going on and on and on. Do you think that just reinstating this the civilian leader will just sort out every issue that is going on in South Sudan, or maybe they have to see to it that they quickly let them return to civilian rule?
Well, actually, the issue still remains the same. There's a problem in Sudan. There is a problem in Sudan. How is the problem going to be solved? Look, the previous administration was a power-sharing administration, and the general decided to remove his power-sharing partner. Reinstating him doesn't change really anything. When he was reinstated, had he been given the full powers that he held before? So I think that is what people are kicking against, that you reinstated him, but you haven't reinstated his full powers. which is actually, and they don't even know, people don't even know under which terms do you reinstate him. So in a way, the military is still in control. The general who made himself lord over all is still in control. And whether he reinstated him or not, he can also, again, at a snap of a finger, put him back under house arrest.
Maybe you need to get the civilians now to also arm themselves.
So the situation hadn't actually improved. I think the reason why he's done that is because there's pressure from the international community.
Yeah.
And to appease the international community, he has to be seen as doing well by them. So so I am probably with the vast majority of people in Sudan who do not agree to what has happened. The people said this is what we want, and they've stated clear what they wanted. They wanted a kind of a free and fair election, not they being held and ruled by people who hold the gun. And I think the leaders should be in a position to respect the people and the voices of the people. But you and me sitting in London here, we know that is not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's not going to happen.
But I like the resilience of the public, the citizens of Sudan, because I mean they were being shot at. I mean, with everything that was happening, they never stopped and they decided to still go on.
Yeah, which I think is one of the best things that we can see from people who are determined to bring a change into their country. And I think that is what it is. A change must happen. And soon as that change happens, that country can now progress and develop. But while they are still being held back by all these political bickering, that country is not going to progress. That country is not going to move in any direction. And again, like I think, like we said, the critics doubt what the military is doing with reinstating the person. They are not 100% sure what exactly is happening. So they have to be made aware what exactly the government intends to do. And of course, releasing the man and reinstating him doesn't mean he holds real political power. It doesn't.
They will be watching you. If you say anything untoward against them, they come for you.
Exactly. That's what the situation is.
Okay. Listeners, we just got 12 minutes, so we'll try to capture on some of the other stories making the rounds. Kojo in South London, Archie in the studios here. Now, let's quickly look at the passing of Captain Kojo Chikata. I mean, yesterday I did talk briefly about him. He was one of the people that when there is a parade or gathering of anything, with the PNDC time, and you see him there, he doesn't act that. You see him quiet. He doesn't make too much noise. I never heard him tweet, or at that time we didn't have tweet, or make any statement, profound statement. But he was holding so much power and influence, and now he's gone. What do you think his legacy will be?
Well, for some people, his legacy will be his complacence in the killing of
the judges.
That would be his legacy for some people. For his strong believers and followers, he will be described as the best security apparatus or brain, let me put it that way, brain that Ghana had ever had. So, without going too much on, I think it depends where you really stand on the political podium.
Yeah.
So if you stand on the political podium of people who opposed the PNDC rule and the NDC rule, then you describe him like my previous description, that he was an evil in the society.
Yeah.
But when you stand on the other podium of the NDC, you say, wow, we could have had more of him to bring some sanity into our security system. So some people will see him as overseeing some of the worst atrocities that a country had ever had during the military regime. And others will see him as the savior of the people.
Interesting.
You're not going to have any one legacy for him. So I'm not going to pretend that people like him. There's quite a huge number of people who didn't like him within their own fold. Who did they actually like him? But the kind of person he is, you can't even tell his mind.
Yeah.
He was created in an image of someone who is to be feared.
Unpredictable. You couldn't predict whatever he's thinking or saying.
He never smiled. He never laughed. He never spoke in public. He never made statements. He never made himself vulnerable to anybody. If I put it that way. Unlike some national security chiefs that we've had in more recent times, who had really put themselves in the firing line. He never did any of those. So, on the scales, balancing the scales, you could say that from administrative wise, he had tried to play a role of a security minister, a proper security minister. So may his soul rest in peace. That's all we can say.
May his soul rest in peace. The late Captain Kojo Chikata. I don't know whether he was of Malta as well. Captain Kojo Chikata of Malta. He said, I've forgotten at the time when they announced the positions. I think Captain Kojo Chikata of Malta. But that is back in the day, 79, 81, thereabout. Okay, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. Now, a final story from Ghana. E-Levy, you want the country fixed, yet you are against raising revenue, Archie Dakun says. The former executive director of the Dankwa Institute, Gabi Asare Archie Dakun, has also said Ghanaians want the country to develop. They are opposed to factors that can contribute to development. His comments follow a current debate among Ghanaians populace on the government proposed e-levy. Now, let me leave that there. It's all well and good when we're trying to raise money, but I want us to look at the waste in our system. The waste. It's like just going to the tap and fetching water with a basket. And then virtually, no matter how the pressure of the water that is coming into the basket, by the time you move to wherever, you lose everything. But before you comment, let me go to Felix. Felix has joined us. Let's have him quickly there. Good afternoon, Felix.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing very, very well, sir. And you?
I think I'm okay.
Great. Yes, your comment, sir.
May I start with Mr. Archie Dakun? Is he a Ghanaian?
His name depicts that he's a Ghanaian.
No, you don't. Your nationality is not established by your name. You could be called Alfonso Blacama. You'll be African.
It's true, though.
Eduardo dos Santos.
And be African.
Eusebio. 100% African. Became Portuguese national.
Yeah.
Is he Ghanaian?
Yes, he is.
Does he hold nationality of another country?
No, he's a Ghanaian.
That is your firm knowledge. Well, okay. Well, I've heard other things that he holds dual nationality. That's my understanding. But anyway, let's put that aside. See, the fact that you want a television set in your house does not mean that you buy a television set that comes from a thief, where you know it's a stolen item.
Yeah.
Right? So the fact that a country wants to develop does not mean that any kind of tax policy should be thrown at the people. His uncle or whatever it is, who is paying 12 or 14,000 pounds per hour for a foreign company to fly him around the world, whilst they have our own private jet. Why does it think somebody should be giving them more money? I mean, look, you're talking a few minutes ago about Captain Kojo Chikata.
Yeah.
Look at the borrowing this government has made. Give that sort of money to Jerry Rawlings and see what Accra will look like.
Yeah.
What Kumasi will look like. What most of our towns will look like. Just whatever you think of Jerry Rawlings, can you imagine Jerry Rawlings being given 200 billion Ghana cedis?
You would have done lots
within 5 years. Within 5 years. Just imagine what will happen with that sort of money. Even his predecessors, Kufuor and Atamils, if they had that sort of money, I mean, after all of this, does it not find it embarrassing that they don't even have one single hospital that they built for a country that has such huge level of infrastructure deficit? What can you just imagine? After all of this, they still have not built one brand new secondary school in our country. It is breathtaking.
Yeah.
Look, it is breathtaking. Even in the so-called developed countries, they are building new infrastructure all the time. You guys live in London, you see that all the time.
Always.
Old ones are being pulled on, new ones are being built. Historical ones are getting significant amount of facelift. And today's day, I mean, it's breathtaking that after all of this borrowing, this country does not even have anything to show for. I mean, you would have thought that by now we should even have a second, petrochemical plant.
Yeah.
By now it should not be a big deal for us to have another refinery and have our initial one working, TOR, some oil refinery working, and maybe even a second one, right? Maybe the people of Cape Coast can also have a refinery, so they can also have something to cheer about. It's not even a big deal to have another refinery in Takoradi because of the port over there.
Yeah, you're right.
And because if you refine it, you can sell it to all the neighboring countries, the Ivorians, the Burkina Faso, even all the way to Mali.
Yeah.
And they don't have anything to show for it, and he thinks we should pay them more money. After having 120-something ministers of state, and you can't even boast of 2% growth rate, that is something.
Do you think that if we call for elections, that mean we will call for elections something, let's say next year, do you think it's going to impact them? It's going to work against them?
Look, I told you a few months ago that our people have chosen stupidity as a way of living. They are not stupid, but that's what they have chosen.
Okay.
Yes. And with such people, it's very difficult to predict what their decisions are going to be. Because I believe that, I don't want to get personal here, but I believe that you hear of people who will give you a call. Charlie, things be hard.
Yeah.
And then they want you to send them something. They don't even ask whether you have a job or not. They want you to send them something. Yet they go back and vote the same people in power.
Yeah.
So I don't know how our people think. And if you listen to the quality of discussion and debate back home on issues, that is even if they discuss issues, because they very rarely discuss it. But when they discuss issues, the discussion, the debate, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but it's of very low standard.
Yeah.
Very low standard. Very low standard. Very low. Very low. You go into a climate summit in Glasgow and you bring 300 and something people. For what? Why would you bring 300 and something people? I mean, we are not Maldives. that is literally sinking under rising ocean.
Yeah. Therefore, need to do their best to make sure their voices are
Yes,
heard.
to do their best.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have our own significant environmental issues, particularly galamsey and things like that.
Yeah.
But we know what the solutions are.
Yeah.
We have decided not to do anything about it. This planting for whatever. Look, when you and I were primary school kids, we were planting trees around our primary school and our secondary school. We planted a whole lot of. It's not a big deal. We know what the solutions are. You know, our grandparents didn't use plastic bags. Our generation decided to use plastic bags, and hence that's a choking of our drain.
Yeah.
Because our grandparents, everything was organic. Even the water you have what they call
that leaf that they put in.
The leaf. They call it tokuba. Yes. So it's all organic. When you eat, you don't even have to look left and right. You leave it on the ground, and it just rots into the ground.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, after a few days, it becomes brown, and then just flakes up,
and then it's gone.
It decays, and that's gone. So we know what you have to do. You don't need to bring 200 something people. I mean, if these people were not being charged at all, 150, 250 pounds per night, they were being charged. Per room.
It's true.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Felix. Thank you very, very much. Okay, let's go to Kojo before we run up. Kojo.
Well, I think Felix said it all. But the honest truth is that I'm not sure why Gabby waiting and talk about how much money will be raised through that to do development. It's quite impossible. I mean, they say the other day that 80% of our current expenditure as a country is all being used to pay public sector wages. So there's hardly anything left. So the raising of this money, I am not sure what difference it's going to make really if it's not put into any better use. I mean, we've not been able to build any new university in the last several years. We've not been able to even upgrade existing hospitals and universities in the last several years. I was telling somebody who doesn't know much about the university systems in Ghana, and I was telling the person that old people drum about we having a lot more universities in the country right now. And I told the person that a lot of this growth has been spearheaded by the public sector. Private sector. And the private sector had, some of the universities within the private sector had actually outperformed some of the established universities. And that is where we are. And I said, it's fine that the public sector, private sector got involved to encourage what the public sector has been doing, but we need to do more. And I'm not sure Gabi calculated what he really wanted to say, and he went ahead quickly, as his style is. Anything that he perceives to be a bit of a negative to the government, he wants to jump in and also say what he wants to say. So I think that is what he's trying to do, muddle the waters. And he knows that anything he says, people sort of will react to it. So he's done it over the time. But I think if people stop reacting to what he says and stop making comments on what he says, it will go a long way to stop him from making statements he knows within himself he shouldn't be doing.
Well,
if you look at what his cousin Dave, the finance minister, he took a different tone and spoke to the media that the work they have to do now is to bring the minority on their side. That is what Ken said. And that is what a wise politician says. I mean, you want to bring the minority on your side.
To back you in all,
Exactly.
Well,
anyway, our time is gone.
Yes. Your closing remarks, a quick one.
Oh, I'll say a very good afternoon to all our listeners, and I think we should watch the space. Today's show will return tomorrow with a bigger bang. And I will encourage all listeners to also be part of contributing like the way they've been doing, sending in texts and all that.
Yeah.
And it will be a fruitful discussion, and hopefully we can change things in some countries.
Yeah.
We know in all countries we can change the way people see things and bring a better perspective to governance in various African countries.
Okay, Kojo. Let me say thank you very much and have a lovely afternoon as well.
Thank you.
All right then. Okay, listeners, that has been Kojo D in South London and Felix all the way in Aberdeen as well, joining in on this morning's breakfast show or morning show. Okay, and this is where we bring it to a close. But this afternoon, exactly in the next 25 or 24 minutes, I'll be bringing you BB Means Business. So don't you go away. Just stay on. Just have yourself a cup of tea or something cool, and then let's meet in the next 20 minutes. All right then. So on that note, I say have a lovely day and don't do what we wouldn't do. We take the song from Lord Kenya. It says Sikampo. Enjoy it. Bye bye for now. I am Archie. Bye.
Starr Radio UK.
Thanks for listening.